Welcome to the Potter Discussion.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Potter Discussion podcast, discussing Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, and the Wizarding World fandom. I am your host, Oscar, and today, finally, I am back in the studio. It has been so long, but finally I can return to this place. I had a wonderful time away from the microphone, as much as I would have loved to give you a couple new episodes over the time that I was gone. I am back, and this is the newest episode 120. That's a huge number. But today's episode, we are talking about Fantastic Beasts, the Secrets of Dumbledore trailer, like the second one, I think. There's like that was the first one, now there's the second one. The second one is finally out. After much anticipation and a delay, we are finally with the second trailer of The Secrets of Dumbledore, Fantastic Beasts number 3. And there was a slight delay. I believe it was supposed to come out on Thursday. Maybe that was 1 or 2 weeks ago. But due to the very unfortunate situation in Ukraine, there was a slight delay. And if you are in Ukraine, if you are around Ukraine, or you're suffering from that situation, I do hope that it will get better sometime in the future. I am very sad, and every time I see a picture or I hear a news story, it really just is not fun at all to hear what is going on. I am so sorry for what is happening over there. I hope it will get better as soon as possible, but I am with you in this one, so I hope you will take that. So, the Secrets of Dumbledore trailer, there was a delay, and now it is out. And I watched it so many times, and I listened to so many different podcasts about it. I am very excited to talk about it today, and I have way too much stuff. I'm going to try to fit it all into this episode. I don't know if I can. I have 20 different things I want to talk about. So much that is just there. There's just so much to unpack. It is a very dense trailer. It's not very long, but it is very informative, and there was a lot of surprising parts, and there was a lot of stuff that I think everyone listening will definitely find quite interesting. So that is very fun. Some other exciting news while I was away, while you were listening without me. So the Potter Discussion Instagram account is now over 2,000 followers. Actually, as I'm recording this, is at about 2,700 and should hit 3,000 in the next couple of weeks. At The Potter Discussion on Instagram. That is at The Potter Discussion. I am loving everything that is going on over there. If you listen to the podcast and you're on the Instagram, you are really as deep as can be in The Potter Discussion. Until today, because I also am now relaunching the Potter Discussion newsletter, rebranded as the Quill and Ink newsletter. If you want to sign up for that link will be in the show notes. I haven't really decided on what kind of content I want to put out, but the first edition came out a couple weeks ago. If you are subscribed to the newsletter and you got that, then I hope you enjoyed the email I sent out. It was my predictions and the confusing timeline for Fantastic Beasts and where to find them through the trailer, when the movie is coming out, as the whole thing. I had a great time writing that, and I hope you enjoyed reading it, but the Quill and Ink is going to be coming out every other week. That is a plan as of now. I'll be discussing whatever's on my brain, an episode that I found particularly interesting, or anything like that. You can find that on the Quill and Ink. I have a couple sign-up forms on the website if you want to go check that out, or again, the first link in the show notes below for sign up. And you also get a free, 100% free guide to a perfect Harry Potter movie marathon when you sign up. It's a PDF of several pages of all these different details and Easter eggs that you may have missed in the Harry Potter movies that will make your watching experience just that much better. So go check that out. Again, the Quill and Ink and the Instagram. So much So much exciting stuff is happening. But I am too excited to delay any longer. So let's get into this episode. All right. So this is going to be a very difficult episode to follow if you do not know what I'm talking about. So I will provide a link to the trailer in the show notes. I'll put that at the very, very, very top of the show notes just so you can click on that and check it out. It is, again, it's not very long. It'll only take a second of your time, but I think if you do that, it will definitely make your listening experience a lot better. But if you haven't, pause it right now. Good job. And go watch the trailer. If you have, keep on listening because we're getting into it this second. All right. The first thing I noticed, the first huge thing that stood out to me was Hogwarts. There was a lot of Hogwarts. I mean, a ton. And it was really random. I mean, like, really random. A Quidditch player flying. I mean, a Quidditch player. There's a lot of the snitch, too. We saw Dumbledore getting the snitch. We saw a ton of other stuff. So, Hogwarts. Why is Warner Brothers putting in so much Hogwarts? Why is this here? Well, I think the answer to this one is pretty obvious, because this is the most recent movie after more than 20 years of the first movie coming out. So you can imagine how the first wave of Harry Potter fans who read the books, then were watching the movies, and then just kind of kept on going if they really liked it, but just kind of tapered off. I'm sure just about one in every 3-4 people have read at least one Harry Potter book, but it's only 1 in maybe 100 people who have still continued to read the books. But that is the problem for Warner Bros. They have to keep the spark alive. They have to continue to make it valuable. They have to make it enticing for people to go and watch the movies and continue to buy the merchandise and make Warner Brothers money. So Warner Bros. Want to make it so the fans who have watched the movies at any time and the fans who have read the books at any time will still find enjoyment from the movies. So they want to put in things that they know that the older fans know and love, such as Hogwarts, such as Quidditch, such as the snitch. All of that stuff were big, huge parts in the first generation of Harry Potter, the movies and the books, the first 7/8. So all those people who were reading and watching those then, got the Harry Potter germ, and they loved them. Of course, it was a huge seller. I had the number in my head before. What was it? I think there have been more than half a billion copies of the Harry Potter books sold, which is boggling. I mean, I'm pretty sure J.K.R. she was the first billionaire from her writing. So, but the Harry Potter world, the Wizarding world, got its fame and got its appeal from Hogwarts, from Quidditch, from the snitch, from all those telltale, this is Harry Potter things. And that's what really the huge wave of initial Harry Potter fans was like, oh wow, this is great. Hogwarts is so fun. I want to play Quidditch. I want to catch the snitch. So nowadays, when that stuff just isn't around anymore, Warner Bros. Has to find a way to bring that stuff back into it to make the world even more enticing for Harry Potter fans who haven't really been involved in Fantastic Beasts up until this point, but who see the trailer, go, I know that stuff, go, I want to watch a movie because I know what that is. That is what they were doing with that. That's why there's so much Hogwarts. They want to appeal to the people who haven't read Harry Potter in a while. They want to appeal to the younger hearts of the Wizarding World fandom. So now, moving on from this trailer, we see Hogwarts, and then we see McGonagall. Is it McGonagall? I think it's McGonagall, because we hear the accent, we hear, we see her, and I think it's the same casting from the last movie, from the Crimes of Grindelwald, and those Lita flashbacks. McGonagall goes to Dumbledore, and she says, I'm sorry to disturb you, Albus, but we have a problem, it's Grindelwald. Is Albus Dumbledore at the Hog's head in this? I don't know, because we see Minerva is definitely outside. I think we've kind of can establish that. I'm looking at the trailer right now, and we have a shot of the snitch, then we have a shot of, Hogwarts and a Quidditch player swooping down, and then we can definitely tell that Minerva is outside somewhere knocking on Albus's door, and Albus opens the door, and that's when they have that interaction. So where could Albus be? I think it's the Hog's head. And I think this is kind of the beginning of the Aberforth and Dumbledore saga, how they are so close and how that they're kind of ripped apart by the death of Ariana. But this I found very interesting because we did see Minerva in the last movie. We did see her, chasing Lita, saying, get back here, Lestrange. But now I'm glad to see she's back in this movie. But why could Dumbledore be at the Hog's Head? Maybe this plays a similar role than it does in the Harry Potter story, being a gateway of some sort, being a kind of a base for the forces of good. Perhaps the Order of the Phoenix? I don't know. I was hoping there was going to be a mention of the Order of the Phoenix in this trailer. I know that's definitely later in Harry Potter, but kind of a theory, tears in my eyes again, that I was thinking about was maybe this is kind of like the birth of the Order of the Phoenix. Of course, we kind of know it was started to defeat Voldemort, but Grindelwald is kind of the first big threat that Dumbledore had to face. So maybe he made his web of connections and created this anti-dark wizard / witch / person, magical person group against Grindelwald. So I was thinking maybe the Hog's Head kind of acts as a kind of like the jump off point for where that whole thing happens. And we do see Aberforth. Newt goes into the bar, says, we're looking for Albus Dumbledore, and then Aberforth, who looks very different, goes, that would be my brother. So maybe the Hog's Head plays a much bigger role than we think? Question mark? I mean, I don't know. It very well could, because if we think back into the Harry Potter story, we know that the Hog's Head really became something in the very end. The Portrait of Ariana, it really became the jumping off point for the DA, and that's how they managed to go in and out of the castle without being detected with that nifty secret passageway that I was still so confused about. From kind of what I've deduced, of course, the Room of Requirement gives you whatever you require, and maybe when the DA kind of just took up residence in the Room of Requirement permanently, the room recognized that they needed a place to be outside of the school, and they needed a secret way to get there. So maybe, I thought at least that's what I think. I think the room created that secret passageway, and I think the Room of Requirement kind of made that, because I doubt that the Portrait of Ariana was like that before. It seems very random, and especially, I mean, I know that it is a very, secret passagey place. Of course, there are 7 in total out of the school, but the Hogsmeade, I don't think was built around the same time as Hogwarts. I think it was a little bit later. So I think the Hog's Head and Hogwarts kind of become linked in the Harry Potter story, and I think we might see something like that reflected in this trailer and in this movie. So maybe that's why Minerva called on Albus had his own house in the Hog's Head. Now I want to kind of jump back to the very beginning of this trailer. If you go to the very beginning, you press play, we see a very familiar face saying a very familiar thing. Michael Gambon's Dumbledore standing by the pensive saying, memory is everything. Without it, we are blind. Without it, we leave the fate of the future to chance, or something like that. I don't know. I just watched it and tried to memorize what he said, but I couldn't quite get it. But that's the gist. Memory is now coming into play. This, I think, is another very important part to remember, because later in the trailer, we see Grindelwald doing some fancy stuff with memory, with use of comma. It looks like he's taking memory out of him, and a lot of other stuff like that. So I think this part of the story is really a part that I think we should pay close attention to. That's, I think, not only is this another play at money by Warner Bros. To go, oh, here's Dumbledore, you know him, but also by kind of saying, memory and the future Dumbledore is also going to play a part in this. And I don't know if they got Michael Gambon back. I could swear I've seen that somewhere before in a different trailer. But it is interesting that they reuse this. It could mean a ton of different things. There's a very large variety of what this could be about, actually. But from what I can kind of gather, I think Dumbledore is going to really kind of start being haunted by his future. And this, I don't know how old he's supposed to be. Oh, actually, we can do the math. We can do the math one. So if this is let's just call it 1930. We don't know when this is actually taking place. Let's call it 1930. And let's call it Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. It takes place in 2000 and no. It takes place in I don't know the date exactly. Let's call it 2000. It takes place in 2000, so that would be 2 years before that for the Half-Blood Prince. He died when he was 115, so he is, 115 minus 70, because he was 1930. He's 40, 50, 40-something. 40-something, that's what I'm signing on. Not very old as far as Dumbledore goes, but he's definitely going to get older. So I think this is where the point in life where he is thinking, how is the future going to be different? How is the world going to be different? And I think this is really coming into play in terms of how the world is going to change with Grindelwald, because then later in this trailer we see Dumbledore and Grindelwald talking. It's in a random diner, fancy, whatever place. I don't know what it's called. I think we're definitely going to get to that one later. They also duel later on. That one is even less explained. It's like a second. We just see them kind of going at each other. So you can you can hear my mouse clickings going crazy. That's what that is. I'm just going back and forth between my recording software and the trailer because I need to see both at the same time, trying to do the best I can. But anyway, so memory. This is, I think, where Dumbledore's going to kind of use his own past and try to use his future too to go against Grindelwald. Now, the Blood Pact has not yet been destroyed as far as the canon goes in the Crimes of Grindelwald. Dumbledore did say he would try to destroy it. Maybe he does. We did see them fighting. That could be a sign that they do destroy the Blood Pact. It could be a sign of other things. But as far as we know, Dumbledore and Grindelwald could not duel, especially because it is not even 1945 yet. This is not their final duel. But it very well could be a duel. Because we don't know fully how the Blood Pact works. It might just be they can't fatally injure each other, but they can literally fight each other. Because it would be difficult to kind of set that boundary. The Blood Pact, I doubt, would be strong enough magic to be able to hold those two apart. Even if conventionally it would, it might. This is a very unconventional situation. That, I think, is definitely going to be a big part of this. So memory is going to be a very large part of the movie, at least from how prominent it is in the trailer. And that's what I can gather from this. Alright, so jumping back ahead, after Minerva says, Albus, we have a problem, it's Grindelwald. There's a shot of Nurmengard Castle in the Alps, and then it's Grindelwald saying, the time is close, my brothers and sisters, and then he's shouting, he's saying, our war with the Muggles begins today! And this is big. I mean, I'm going to say everything is big because it's part of the trailer, but this, I think, is definitely a very interesting part of the trailer. In the first trailer, this Our War with the Muggles Begins Today line was at the very end, right before the fast action, cut title card, that was so bad. So that is where that line was before, but now in this trailer it is much farther up, and I think this is Warner Brothers symbolizing that the war with the Muggles is going to kind of begin. Grindelwald's mission is, the Muggles are not lesser, they're just other. His whole, completely and utterly true speech, that of course I definitely believe, but the war with the Muggles, I think he is referring to his reign. Not literally, alright everyone, now turn around, let's go kill all the Muggles. I think he's kind of saying, we're not going to war with the Muggles, we are starting the revolution, we are going to burn the world down, and that is we are starting right now, our war with the Muggles begins today. So that, I think, is kind of what he means by that. But what I was also wondering about is, this is kind of a weird thing, but Mads Mikkelsen is now playing Grindelwald before Johnny Depp had to give up the role to Mads Mikkelsen. And I'm glad that they did not make his hair blonde. I'm going to say that. I think Johnny Depp pulled it off very well. I liked Johnny Depp's Grindelwald very much. He definitely played very well. He understood the character. And his hair was fine. I mean, if you see Johnny Depp, just in the real world, Johnny Depp, not a character, you see how he chooses to wear his hair. It's usually pretty long. It's straight. It falls down, it's kind of the Snape hair. But if you see Grindelwald, you go, whoa, that's, if you compare the two pictures, it's strange. But as far as Grindelwald goes, I think it works very well. And I'm so glad they did not do it with Mads Mikkelsen. They could not do it with Mads Mikkelsen. I'm just saying that right now. Mads Mikkelsen's hair would not work. They did put a little gray in it, I don't know if he just has that naturally. If he does, or if he doesn't, it works very well with this character. I think they didn't really have to explain, or rather they don't have to explain the change in, Grindelwald. Of course, everyone knows the reason, but also I think they kind of put it, like, just tack it on to the plot convenience / he's such a dark wizard. He looks different, in every movie, because of course he was Abernathy, and then he was Johnny Depp, and then he was Mr. Graves, and now he's Mads Mikkelsen. So I think the swapping of people playing Grindelwald is just another part of who he is as a character. So I wasn't really shocked by, why they didn't try to make him more Grindelwald-like. Or rather, I think another reason why they didn't was they were making him Johnny Depp Grindelwald-like. I think he can be Grindelwald-like. Anyone can make him Grindelwald-like, but he just should not have been Johnny Depp Grindelwald-like, because everyone has their own talents, and everyone can portray differently and has different aspects of who they are that allow them to do things better / worse. I think Mads Mikkelsen is a very good actor and can portray the role of Grindelwald very well. He was a great villain. Of course, he has done quite the resume of acting before this, so this is not his first gig by any means. So he is definitely prepared to play Grindelwald. He knows what he will be taking on when he takes the role. As he is Grindelwald now, he is completely prepared for what is to come. And I think I am so glad. I am so glad that, again, they did not make his hair blonde, because that is just that I would just. I cannot imagine. I mean, Mads Mikkelsen with short hair, I wouldn't be mad. I think if they just cut his hair a little bit, I would not complain. I think it would still be fine. But right when they took that coloring out, I would just go, no, because again, the Johnny Depp Grindelwald works really well with the blonde hair. The Mads Mikkelsen Grindelwald does not work well with the blonde hair. It works well with the gray hair. It works well with the big speeches, with the flourishing of the wand. That's the Mads Mikkelsen Grindelwald, not the blonde hair Johnny Depp Grindelwald. Alright, after this, a lot of things happen. First of all, after Mads Mikkelsen / Grindelwald says, "Our war with the monks begins today," they shoot his sign into the air. I'm glad they finally got a logo. It is a weird, blocky, strange logo, but it is a logo nonetheless. So, now, Dumbledore. Now, I think I'm struggling. I want to call him Albus, just to differentiate between, Michael Gambon and Richard Harris and Jude Law. So, I think I'm trying to call him Albus. So, Albus, the 1930 Dumbledore, he says, "The world as we know it is coming undone. In order to stop it, you need to trust me." And then a ton of different shots happen. So, like I said, we have the logo. The logo shoots up into the air. A ton of people, it's like green or something like that. So, lots of green logos shooting. I'm calling it. I'm gonna call it Grindelwald's mark. Calling it a logo just feels weird. So Grindelwald's mark is shot into the air. We see that, and then we have again that scene that I was talking about. Grindelwald takes a memory from use of comma, takes it and flourishes into the air, creating I don't know what. And then after that, there's a cut of a street with a huge kind of billow of I assume an Obscurus type thing. I assume Credence is kind of in the middle of that. It's like a bunch of street things, kind of ripping a house apart, swirling up. And then we have Eulalie Hicks. Finally, Eulalie Hicks is here, talking to Jacob. She says, Mr. Kowalski, and he says, I don't want a part of this, leave me alone. And then, of course, the very funny, he walks in, he closes the door, turns around, and there she is, and then Eulalie Hicks says, I'm a witch, right? I laughed when I saw that. Very, very funny. The timing on that was perfect. So it's kind of like the next part of this. So let's just go back on and unpack this. So the mark doesn't mean anything. It's a mark. But the memory, use of comma. So use of comma is a very wild card, strange, wishy-washy, mysterious, very heavy shawl of mystery kind of person. He was kind of not on the good side. He kidnapped them. Now he's kind of on the good side. He believed Lita. Now he's not on the I cannot handle it. But now he's with Grindelwald. That's all I know. Now he's with Grindelwald. Grindelwald takes a memory from him. I try to come up with the right word, but my brain just tried to make the sound. He scloops it into the air. I'm calling it he scloops it into the air, creating a skloopage of a spider web. That's what I'm saying for now. a scoopage spiderweb of the memory. I don't know what that means. I think it's just a cool shot showing that memory is also coming into play, like it was in the beginning with Michael Gambon's Dumbledore standing over the pensive saying memory is everything, without we were blind, without it we leave the future up to chance. Now we have another memory element of the story that I think Warner Bros. Will going, oh yes, memory, of course. So then, so we have Grindelwald drawing a memory out of use of comma, then the whole building kind of going up and swirling around. We did see this. We see Dumbledore there also. Dumbledore is standing there, and the building kind of swirls up, and he watches it go. Yeah, so I look back, and we see the I think we can prove it's either Credence or another witch or wizard casting a spell. The buildings are swirling, the tiles are going everywhere. Then it kind of comes down on Dumbledore. Dumbledore deflects it, and then the line, "You need to trust me." Then we have the Eulalie Hicks and Jacob. Jacob says, "I want out, and I want out." Eulalie Hicks says, "Mr. Kowalski, Mr. Kowalski," and then Jacob closes the door and then turns around and screams. He's like, "Ah!" And we see Eulalie Hicks going, I'm a witch, right? So that is kind of that part. I don't think there's a huge meaning to the Jacob scene. I think it's just to show that Jacob is, alive and he's still there. So after that, we then see a train. Don't know what train it is. I was kind of trying to zoom in. I doubt it's the Hogwarts Express. Or actually, maybe it's the Hogwarts Express. Theory, is it the Hogwarts Express? Maybe it is, because we did see them in the room of requirement. Maybe that's the Hogwarts Express. Maybe it's the Ilvermorny Express. I don't know. I mean, Eulalie Hicks, the school teacher of Ilvermorny, is here, so maybe they're going to Ilvermorny, but I doubt it's a train that they get there. Of course, America's very different than London, so I'm pretty sure it would not be a train, but maybe it's the Hogwarts Express. I don't know. Whatever it is, a train. A train is going, and we have the scene that we saw before with Eulalie Hicks. We have Theseus, and we have Jacob and Newt. They're all there. And is Bunty there? I can't see if Bunty's there. Let's see if Bunty's there. Alright, so we don't explicitly see if anyone's there. We just see Newt, Jacob, and Hicks there. But I do think Theseus is also in the train car, and I don't know if anyone else is there. But we have the scene where Newt goes, "Dumbledore asked that I give you something, this," and then Jacob's like, "What, me? It's a wand." Of course, we knew that. Not a big shocker. Then we have Theseus saying, "So this is the team that's going to take down, the greatest dark wizard. Who wouldn't like our chances?" Very funny. Then they're running down. The door closes. I don't know where that is. It might be Ilvermorny, actually. It could be Ilvermorny. It might be a Ministry of Magic, but it's somewhere. Then we see a shot of Grindelwald and his team. And then the trailer continues. We have a shot of the Hog's Head bar with a very interesting writing on the mirror. If you look really closely, all right, I'm gonna take a nice close look. All right, it says, "Do you know?" And then a bunch of other letters that I don't really have meaning. And I would love to decode these. I am a master of Wordle, but I don't think we. It might mean something. I might go back to this guy. I might be 4 palms on my forehead, thinking, why did I not decode the message? But I don't know. So we have some strange text on the bar, and then we have Bunty telling Newt, "You can know a person can't know everything, not even you." So that's our first sighting of Bunty. I don't know what that means. Maybe Newt is questioning Grindelwald. Maybe he's really wondering who he is, what Dumbledore's asking him to do. Maybe that's kind of what that's about. And then we have a shot that was included in the first trailer. We have Dumbledore and a snitch. Maybe the snitch is kind of used as a messaging carrying system. That could actually be why. Because I doubt they just have a random snitch. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe because it went in his hand. So I doubt it's random, one-off kind of thing. So maybe this is kind of a messenger carrying system. Maybe. All right. Then there's a, big text that says his secrets. More of Grindelwald's mark. And then we have like what looks like a car with the mark and like a bird, an alive bird. And yeah, which is strange. I don't know why they would show that. Well, we have the mark, we have his secrets, some more of Grindelwald. All right, so then a bunch of stuff happens. We have Grindelwald in the crowd. He is crowd surfing. They're going, Grindelwald! And they're just so happy to see him. And then we have a very confusing scene. Dumbledore and Grindelwald are sitting in a fine dining, diner, restaurant, I don't know, and Grindelwald says, with or without your help, I will burn down their world. And then it's a wide shot, and the whole diner is going up in flames. All right, what could this mean? How is it happening? Those are two questions I need answered. What does this mean? I think it could be either two things. I think it could be a memory, or they're not really there. That's really the only two feasible things that I think could be, that could be the reason why these two scenes can exist. I think with the fire at the end, I don't think they're there, and with the fact that they are actually together, and Grindelwald is saying, with or without your help, I'll burn down their world, I think this is a memory. It could very well be both. It could very well be neither, but I'm going to go with both. So they didn't do any makeup. They didn't signify that it is years in the past, but I think it's definitely year or 2 years, because Grindelwald is really saying that the war hasn't really started yet. And because he, quote unquote, started the war earlier in the trailer, I think that this is either something that happened in the past or something that didn't really mean anything. Because if Grindelwald is saying, Dumbledore, like Albus, join me, because I will burn down the world even if you don't help me. Dumbledore didn't say anything, but this could mean that this is kind of a flashback to when they parted ways. When Grindelwald, they knew that they could not stay with each other. Grindelwald says, like, Albus, just come with me, burn down the world, just like, let's just do it. Of course, Albus says no, they part ways. That's kind of how that starts. So that's kind of where I see this going. Then there's a drop in the music, and some more text that says, can save the world. His secrets can save the world. So what secrets does he have? What secrets does Dumbledore have? Moving on from the diner scene, from the weird fine dining scene, piecing together this text, his secrets can save the world. What does that mean? What are his secrets? What world is he saving? What is he saving it from? A lot of different things that we don't really know the answers to, but I think this is kind of where we will never know until we see the movie what his secrets are, right? What is he actually protecting? What secrets are we going to find out? Because it is called The Secrets of Dumbledore, and like I said in the Quill and Ink newsletter, a movie that is called The Secrets of Dumbledore cannot be followed by a film with no secrets revealed and nothing more learned. So there has to be something here besides just a fancy title. So I think there's going to be something here. There's going to be secrets that apparently have the magnitude, have the power to save the world. So this, I think, is definitely another point to remember. Then we have a line, dangerous times favor dangerous men. They are walking through the halls of Hogwarts. Now they're in the room of requirement, and Dumbledore says something very funny. Albus says, if we were all still alive by tea time, we should consider our efforts a success. 6 out of 10, he says, Mr. Kowalski. Then Jacob grabs his hands, and they go spinny around the big golden sphere thing. I don't know what that's for. I think there's a lot of inscribed, maybe it's like a mega port key kind of thing. I don't know. They're definitely going somewhere, because they have their cases. Dumbledore has a hat and a scarf, so they're definitely ready to. They're going somewhere. That big sphere is taking them somewhere. So I think this is the point that they are going somewhere. They are going away, and they are going to go to Grindelwald, whatever that might mean. So this is really where that starts. Then we have a lot of shots of Credence. We see the Phoenix, we see Dumbledore holding his wand to Credence, and then we see them kind of dueling, and then Dumbledore is holding Credence down, and he's holding a light in his hand. What does that mean? What could that mean? That is very confusing. I think it's the Deluminator. I think a lot of people think that. And this might be used for showing Credence kind of his way back. In Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, or maybe it's Part 2, I forget now, Ron uses his Deluminator, and it opens a blue light, goes in his chest, and he finds his way back home. Maybe that's what Dumbledore is doing with Credence. I think it might be. He will put the blue orb inside of Credence, and Credence will now find his way home, and that's kind of where he is going. Because the whole idea of Credence is he wants to find out who he is. He wants to put a name to himself. He wants to find his true home. And I think that's what Dumbledore's doing, but it might not be a very fun thing, because we can kind of see he is pained. He is pained of what he's doing, but we don't know truly what it is. So more will be revealed on this. Then we have, again, a Grindelwald and Dumbledore. Grindelwald says, "You said we could shape the world." And then we have a blood pact. I think this is referring to their past, of how Dumbledore and Grindelwald were like closer than brothers, and they were ready to shape the world. And then they left. They went their separate ways. And then we have a bunch of different shots. We have the French woman who's helping Queenie. She's shooting at Avada Kedavra. They are all running through the forest. We have Pickett with Newt's wand. I mean, there's so much happening. And then we have a duel in the streets. We have a bunch of different orbs flying everywhere. Some books going everywhere. Theseus puts someone man in the wall somehow. Then we see someone get grabbed by the manticore's tail and gets pulled out into the distance. Alright, so then a very exciting thing happened. Dumbledore and Grindelwald are dueling. They're dueling. I don't know anything else, but they are dueling. We definitely see them. Their wands are alight. They are pushing each other. They are casting spells. They are doing something. They are actually dueling. Now, I don't know what this means. Maybe the blood pact is destroyed. Maybe they are not fatally injuring themselves or each other, like I was saying before. There is so much happening here that I think is very confusing. Then, of course, a shot in the street. A woman uses her wand, casts a spell on the books, and books go flying everywhere. I love those spells. They're not, light. They are actual magic. Then we have more shots of the Manticore. We have more shots of Grindelwald's followers shooting beams of light and spells everywhere. And then we have another Dumbledore and Credence duel. Credence is pushing against Dumbledore. Dumbledore looks behind him and apparates away. Then there's a cut to black. And the final line, "Things are not quite what they appear," with a shot of the Phoenix flying down. And that is that. That is the trailer for The Secrets of Dumbledore, the second one. Now, I do want to touch a little bit before we cut out of this about the Phoenix. It was not looking very good. It was very red, very, very Phoenix-like in the end of the Crimes of Grindelwald, but now it's kind of shedding and becoming anew. So I think this is symbolizing Credence is molting, Credence is becoming a new person. And I think in the next couple of films, we are going to see Credence go up in flames and then be reborn from the ashes. We have the title card. All right, the last few seconds are Jacob saying, Albus saying, "I trust you're enjoying your wand, Mr. Kowalski." And then we see Jacob actually casting a spell. Whether this is preloaded for him, whether it's a button that he presses, he takes his wand, he points it in the air, and storm clouds appear. And we see Queenie. She's there. What does this mean? Did Dumbledore actually give Jacob a wand? Is this a wand that actually works? So many questions. 1, did Jacob learn magic? 2, is Jacob a squid? 3, is he a squid? No, is Jacob a squib? That's what I meant to say. Because there's always, he's casting spells with being a complete muggle. So there's something we're missing there. But we're at the end of the trailer, and there's no Tina. No Tina at all. I don't know what this might mean. Maybe it means that Tina's not in it. Maybe it means that Tina is perhaps a different person. Maybe Bunty. I don't know. There's so much more. I just went through it and rambled. This is a very, very long episode. I'm happy I'm doing it. I'm happy we are back in the swing of things. I encourage you to watch the trailer multiple times because you catch detail by detail every single thing. And I've watched it at this point perhaps a dozen times, and I'm still not taking in everything. After this whole episode, if you're hearing this, you must care a little bit. I've been clickety-clacking my mouse this whole time because I've been switching back and forth, like I said, between my recording software and the trailer. I've been scrolling through as much data as possible in the 40 minutes I've been recording this. So this has been a chaotic episode, I'm so glad I did it. I loved recording today. I hope you enjoyed listening to this episode, the first one back, the first new episode 120 of the Potter Discussion. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want, again, the perfect guide to a Harry Potter movie marathon, go click that first link, the top link in the show notes below. That will send you to the webpage. You'll put in your name and your email, and you will get the free guide. And every other week, you'll get another email with more content from me, 100% for free. Again, the Potter Discussion Instagram community is growing so much. If you want to be part of the 3,000 followers that are soon to be on that page, go follow me at ThePotterDiscussion on Instagram. Again, that is at ThePotterDiscussion. Any questions, comments, theories about the trailer, or any other things that you have noticed so far, send me an email, ThePotterDiscussion@gmail.com. That is ThePotterDiscussion@gmail.com. Or use the 2 submission forms in the show notes below. Again, that is the Google form link and the SpeakPipe page link for voice or text, whichever one you prefer. Thank you for sticking around and hearing this episode. As always, remember, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light. See ya.
This was the Potter Discussion.